wanted this video to go a lot better, but so many changes happened during the creation of this video. So this one's gonna look a lot different than the next one will. So I hope you bear with me. But we're gonna talk about the books that I read in the months of June, July, and August. So I wanted to pick books that were about places I was visiting or based in places I was visiting. So I am currently reading, and I'm going to continue this one a day over the actual, time for this challenge to be over, because I think I can finish it either tonight or tomorrow. But I'm currently reading Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. It is so good, and for someone that has a minor form of OCD, I feel like this book really resonated with me and is still resonating with me. And also as someone who spent a lot of time in hospitals. But other than that, and I'm not going to get the books back out, but I have this handy dandy little scrapbook of all of the activities I've done this year. And in the back is where I put all the photos for all the books I've read this year. So the other books I have read start on the line with Dead Romantics. So I finished Dead Romantics right before I started this challenge. Then I read Murder and Mayhem in Missouri, which I believe I gave 3 stars. Falling with Wings, I gave a 4-star or a 5-star. Dear Henry, Love Edith was a complete accident. It was a free book when I bought my new e-reader at Barnes & Noble, and it somehow managed to be based in one of the states that I was visiting, so it ended up working out perfectly. Local Woman Missing, it's based in Illinois, kind of like an outer suburb of Chicago. Great thriller, 5 stars. And I know people either love it or hate it. I'm clearly one of the ones that loved it. Kitchens of the Great Midwest was another one that I read. Great book. Now these two here were ones for a different challenge that is no longer happening. So I'm not gonna really talk about those, even though I did read Primetime Romance by Kate Robb and it was really good. And I also read Dream On, Ramona Riley, and it was really good. My little bisexual self was loving every second of it. Primetime Romance by Kate Robb was actually for the Pretty Little Book Nerds podcast, along with the book that I'm currently reading, which is this beautiful 10th anniversary edition of The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. It's so gorgeous. I'm also listening to it a little bit. It just helps me get through it a little bit faster since my life's getting a little bit busier right now. I am also reading 32 Days in May, which I love as somebody with lupus. I love it. I feel like it is the first book I've read where it accurately describes what living with a chronic condition is like. And that was also for a different challenge that is no longer happening. For the travel challenge, which was reading books from all of the places I was visiting, or that's based either fully or partly in places I was visiting, I started and did not finish 11/22/63 by Stephen King. It's 900 pages. I mean, look at that thing. It was not going to happen. And then I have a book called The Devil Never Sleeps, which is for one of my college classes. And I'm also reading A Little History of Psychology. So those are the books that I'm kind of reading right now. But let's pull out the books for the September challenge. I'm going to set my camera up like this now because I have a lot of books to hold. So for the month of September, actually, I just realized this first book on my list still has the location on it from where I got it. Ooh, there's another book back there. Thank you, Clem. My cat showed me that I had another book back there that I did not know was part of this. Okay, so now that I am, figured out, this challenge is going to be books that I bought while on my vacations. So there's no, clear theme or clear genre. It could be any theme, any genre, any author, anything really. As long as I purchased it while I was not staying in my house and I was staying somewhere else and I was on a vacation. Which is good because I went on a lot of vacations this year. And bought a lot of books. If you watched my Texas travel series, I talk about some of these books. Now, there are places where I got more than one book, and so I picked one or the other from that. So the first on my list, and then I shuffled them up and stuff. The first from my list is one that I got from Katy, Texas, Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, to help with my Jane Austen collection. Oh my God, my stickers! Sorry. So I was looking for this sticker for literally forever because it's for my sister-in-law. It was a gift that I got for her. I had no idea that it was in this book. I had a feeling it was in one of them, but I hadn't looked yet. So Northanger Abbey, I want to have all of the books by Jane Austen in my collection. So that's this one. I was able to find it for $2, I believe. And so picked that up real quick. So that's going to be my first read. Then my next one is from my third stop, or my third video in the Texas travel series, which is technically mostly not in Texas. But we stopped on the way home to the St. Joseph Psychiatric Museum in St. Joseph, Missouri, and I found a book there that I've literally been wanting for years. I've wanted to read this for years. So of course I picked it up and I bought it, which is My Lobotomy by Howard Dooley. It is a memoir about a kid who had a lobotomy when he was put in psychiatric care as a kid. And somehow he's been able to live. Sorry, it cut out on me. I lost time. And somehow he's been able to live a majority normal life because he was young enough to where his brain just kind of fixed itself and rewired enough. And so that's an incredible story to hear about, and I've wanted to read that for a long time. This one, thank you, Clementine, for making an appearance. This one I purchased in, oh my gosh, St. Paul, Minnesota, at a romance bookstore that they have there. This was one of the many books that I bought there. And it was Loathe to Love You. It is Steminist Novellas. So it is by Allie Hazelwood, and it's got a collection of novellas in it that are all STEM people based. So it's really cool. Come on. Nope, off. There you go. Sorry. On the counter. Cut that out. So yeah, so got this. Super cool. Next one that I purchased, I believe was in Chicago before we left for Minnesota. The White Album by Joan Didion. It is essays about living in the 1960s, I believe. Yes, the 1960s. And I don't know, I've never really read a collection of essays before. And this kind of breaks me out of the fiction mold for this series. So the fiction, well, I say the fiction mold. 2 out of the 4 books so far have been nonfiction, but I don't know, it's just quite interesting to do a memoir in essay style. So and I've never read essay style before, so I think it'll be really fun. After that, this is a book that I purchased at a romance bookstore in Austin, Texas, and it is called Catch the Sun. It is by Jennifer Hartman. I know literally nothing about it, but it has these gorgeous orange sprayed edges, and it was I believe this was in Austin. It might have been not in Austin, now that I think about it, but I'm not sure. It was during my Texas trip. So, this was actually a blind date with a book that I unwrapped, and got, so I'm very excited to check this out, and maybe I'll end up really enjoying that author. Next was literally the top book I wanted to find while I was out on vacation, and it was the first one I found in not in Texas, but from the Texas trip. And that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. And then what's really funny is I saw somebody literally sitting by the pool reading this when we went to the pool in Austin. And I was like, that's a sign. This is going to be a great book. So basically, all I've heard about it really, obviously, other than the fact that it's Emily Henry and everybody loves her, is that it has a lot of like New Girl vibes to it. And that it's really fun. Because I think it's like comedian. One of them's a comedian, I believe. Or maybe not. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. But we'll figure it out. We'll see. We'll read it together and figure it out. Next was this book, Elias Grace, which is technically the story. Like, it's a true story about an actual woman that was imprisoned in 1843. And it's written by Margaret Atwood. So this helps with my Margaret Atwood collection. I love her writing, and so I want to make sure I have all of her books. And so I'm very excited to read this. Love true crime, and I love Margaret Atwood. So I think this is going to be a 5-star for me. I think a lot of these are going to end up being 5 stars, honestly. Next was another blind date with a book that I got, which is On the Hustle by Adriana Herrera. My cat really wants to be a part of this video today, so her neck is she's just gonna chill right there. They can't see the cover of the book, hun. Your face is very gorgeous, yes. Oh. Okay, so don't know much about this one. I'm going in blind, and I'm very excited to go in blind. This next one is actually from you little weirdo. From a recent trip, I went to Branson with a few of my friends, very last minute, very unexpectedly, and we went to the Titanic Museum. And while I was there, they had this book called The Dressmaker by Kate Alcott, which is about a seamstress who ends up being one of the survivors of the Titanic. So I'm very excited to read that. Some historical fiction. Next is a book I picked up in St. Paul at Barnes & Noble. And it's a book I've wanted to read for a long time, and I picked up the fancy version of it. And if you're familiar with the series, you'll probably guess it from this pretty spine. But it's The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I've heard it's young adult version of Criminal Minds, and I love Criminal Minds. So I'm so down to read this. So then we have a book that I let be picked for me, actually, from a bookstore in Austin. It was one that I actually heard of from a Haley Pham video. And there was a cat there that loved me and let me pick it up and hold it and was super talkative and just adorable. But the person looked at my Goodreads and picked this out for me. It's called Sorcery and Small Magics by Maja Ducey. I don't know. Dossie, maybe? I'm not sure. But it is a queer romance about two witches or wizards or just people that perform magic spells. And it's a little cozy read from what I've heard. So, oh my gosh, it looks like there's another sticker that I didn't know I had. Oh my gosh, yeah, there's the sticker from Reverie Books. So, next is also one that I got from Austin, and it was also a blind date with a book, and it's an old, cozy thriller romance from what it said on the outside, and it is The Eye of the Tiger by Wilbur Smith. Never heard anything about these, and as you can tell, very clearly not a new release, so I'm very excited to check that out. And last but not least is the Forensic Case book, which I actually ended up picking up in Minnesota, I believe, and it was on my TBR. So that's the last one. I'm very excited to see if I like these, and that's the order I'm going to be reading them into, but I'm very excited to read these, get into these, and actually film this video series the way that I want to film it. So when you come back next time, it won't be this vibe. It'll be different. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and I will see you all next time.